Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
This is So I'm Watching American Crime Story, Impeachment, Episode 8, Stand By Your Man. This one is a lot.
Wow.
This one has a lot to talk about.
Guess who exists?
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton!
She didn't need to be all over this. It sort of
not over the whole show.
Yeah, it sort of made sense to really dive into it with this. We will most likely start there. I want to talk about Hillary Clinton without diving into all like our whole thing on Hillary Clinton. Is this changing how you feel about the actual humans, the historical figures? Are you taking it to heart?
It's changing how I feel about Bill more than anyone.
I would venture a guess that what I say is I think this is tonally accurate. I think that the sentiments are accurate. I don't know that the individual scenes are accurate.
I don't think I would even say that a lot of these things did actually happen, but I would say that the dialogue is not. You can't guess at the dialogue.
We took a bold step. We were always sort of under the impression, and even on this show, we were under the impression that Hillary kind of knew.
Yeah.
And was fine with it.
Well, she did.
And while that was true to a point, this depicted her like she believes him hook, line, and sinker.
Well, no, not for me. For me, this is because he's never lied about it before. And so now that he did something and he lied to her about it, she can never trust him again. So it's like she knew about Jennifer Flowers and she knew about all the other ones.
Okay, I mean, I get that, but also I'm very conflicted with everybody on this show because it's like, what was he? So he was just going to say, you caught me? The intern blew me a few times.
To Hillary or to
anyone, everyone. All of this is predicated around, we caught him lying. We got him. And I'm like, of fucking course he's lying. Like, of course you're gonna like.
I know that this is like a dog whistle term now, but like this was kind of a witch hunt.
Well, it wasn't. This was actually a witch hunt.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
The dog whistle that we.
No, I'm saying sincerely, despite the fact that term is a dog whistle, it also means nothing
anymore.
Yeah, no, but they were trying to nail him for literally anything, and it didn't matter what. And now they caught him in this lie, and now they can prosecute him and impeach him and all this.
But I'm saying it's like we've even depicted that as like that was some grievous crime. And I'm like, I understand perjury. Believe me, I get it. But it reminds me of the Eddie Izzard bit where Eddie's like, denying the Holocaust is like a 10 on the lying scale. And saying you shagged someone we didn't is like a 3. Yeah. It's like not, I don't understand why everyone is pretending. I don't understand why everybody's stupid. Just period. Just flat out. Why is everybody stupid? The whole Hillary Clinton, when she did the interview and did the Tammy Wynette Stand By Your Man and the Heartland's mad. Why are they stupid? Like why Tammy Wynette demands an apology like she didn't write the fucking song herself and doesn't know what the fuck it's about?
About a cheating man.
It's the thing that pisses me off the most, especially about the conservatives. And I'm going there because I grew up conservative. I was for a large chunk of my life, and it's bullshit. And I know that because I was it. And they pretend to care about things just so they have a reason to be assholes, just so they have a reason to be I
don't know why you're yelling at me about it.
Because I'm angry, like pedantic or nitpicky. Yeah. Like it's like why, for whatever reason, the cornerstone of the Conservative Party is being an absolute dick, is being just a jackass to prove legally you're allowed to be.
Sure.
And it's like, I don't understand why they're suddenly stupid. Like they're pretending, oh my God, she lied for her husband. That's a failing of character. Yeah. No, it's not. It's literally what all of you are doing every day on Facebook. And it's just so frustrating because this is contrasted against it wasn't Iran-Contra. They mentioned that word and then it got stuck in my head because it's kind of a whimsical word.
No, it's like terrorist stuff. It's like
the Bin Laden.
Al-Qaeda, Bin Laden stuff.
Which I remember that being thrown around because nothing's ever anybody's fault. It's always the guy before you and the guy after you fault. And then it
You gotta take a breath, man.
I'm so angry. I'm so angry that nobody can ever just do anything.
This happened 23 years ago. It's over.
It's not over.
This specific part is over.
I just like, it's all coming screaming back to me because, yeah, I mean, we were like 14 when it was happening, but we've also been hearing about it for the better part of 20 years.
Yeah.
I wasn't done talking about Hillary.
Okay.
Hillary is a very enigmatic figure.
Sure.
And that is by design. My personal feelings about Hillary are that she was ahead of her time, and she lived her life projecting an image from a place of necessity and survival.
Well, and also, like she said in this episode, to invest in them together in order to help him. Like, she had dreams and aspirations that she left to the side to support him.
Because ahead of her time,
because society.
She was one of these trailblazers blazing this trail. And so famously on SNL, there's not really an impression of her. You get takes on her. You get Amy Poehler's version, or Vanessa Bayer's version, or Kate McKinnon's version.
What did Vanessa Bayer do, Hillary?
Between Amy and Kate.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
It wasn't for very long. She wasn't very good because, I mean, there's nothing there.
Nothing to do. Yeah.
And so I feel like, in spite of kind of shading Edie's performance earlier in the episode, or the season rather, I think this is probably one of the most astute, or one of the most to the meat portrayals of Hillary. Like, I believe this.
My biggest issue with Edie Falco is that I just think she doesn't look as much like Hillary as Sarah Paulson could have with a little bit of makeup.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also, Will made a comment about how he's like this episode the most, and there was nary a Linda Tripp to me.
You know, correlation does not equal causation, but...
And actually, I think that this episode, because we got several looks from Edie, I think it is the most that she looked like Hillary, especially the stupid headband and like
in the
long,
early 90s, and the long hair. Yeah.
I think they're doing a really, really, really good job with many of these characters, but especially Hillary.
Yeah.
Because as we've mentioned several times, most of these people are still alive. This is, you know, recent history, we'll say. And they're telling one particular story, but there is several characters in the story that have a legacy that needs to be acknowledged or upheld or whatever. And so I was curious going into this, how are we going to portray Hillary Clinton? You know what I mean? It's like, because she has every right to be the wife who hates the mistress.
Yeah.
And she wasn't kind.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, it doesn't, she's never met Monica. She doesn't know anything about Monica. All she has to say about Monica is what Bill told her to begin with.
Yeah.
And so it's like she keeps calling her a psychopath and like a crazy person. And then I thought she was talking about Monica, but she was talking about Linda when she said the like narcissistic whatever. Hilarious. So it's like she doesn't have anything else to go on with regards to how Monica's behavior actually is.
But it's like it is unfortunate that a woman as complex as Hillary Clinton could largely be defined by this incident. I don't think she will be. I think we're at a place where...
No, I mean, she's already moved past. She's got 8 other scandals that have surpassed this. Are you kidding? She's fine.
Sure, but historically speaking, you know, it's like a lot of times people can be Monica herself. I mean, I think that there's a connection there. Linda, Paula Jones, where it's like, imagine having your life defined by a passive role in one sort of intense or scandalous moment in your life. And it's very fascinating. I was so completely connected with Edie's Hillary, and the way it was filmed with the beginning. I mean, them trotting her out to try and salvage this or save him.
No, that was before he was even elected.
That's what I mean. Okay. Like to help it, then sort of throwing her under the bus a little bit. And then like,
I fucking know, man. It's truly awful. I think my favorite part of this episode, okay, it's my favorite part and my least favorite part, because I loved that ending after they get back from dinner with Vernon Jordan and his wife. So
Saints.
much.
Saints for
these wives.
For going through, well, Vernon and for going through with this dinner.
The party. Vernon Jordan is his own brand of scumbag, so I don't think he's any kind of saint, but regardless.
There was your husband Will made the funniest joke when Bill was talking to Vernon and he was like, I need you to help me out with Hillary.
Yeah.
And Will was like, can you get her a job at Revlon?
So funny. No, so I love that scene so much because of the way that Edie Falco was portraying Hillary and all the things she was saying, and especially the thing towards the very end where she was like, he's like begging her not to leave him. And she's like, I can't leave you. What makes you think I can leave you? If I leave you, then I'm the woman who left the president. And if I stay with you, then I'm that idiot that stayed. And that's the kind of shit that like really grinds my gears. And in addition to that, I don't understand how the same, like, I know that this is Clive Owen, and we also don't know if Hillary and Bill had that actual conversation at Cape Cod after their dinner. Whatever.
But I believe they did. That's what I mean when I'm like, this has been very...
But here's my thing. Here's the thing that makes me angry. I don't understand how the man who ran circles around the independent council in that deposition is dumb enough to think that a couple of like sweet words is gonna fix this mess with his wife.
I mean...
It's like this.
You gotta start somewhere. I mean, you gotta, I don't know. And that is
and
the
having
thing.
the absolute gall. I mean, I know that it was a mistake that he didn't actually mean to say those words, but having the gall to say, well, Hillary's not any fun and that's where Chelsea gets it from. Unbelievable.
Well, because it's not even the cheating. I mean, it's not the cheating, but
yeah.
But
he's clearly cheated before, but he told her the truth.
No,
and that was the difference.
I think she does care, especially given where they are now.
Okay, I think she does care, but I think that she would have still done the 60 Minutes interview if he had only been truthful with her from the beginning. Like, if there had been another 60 Minutes interview, she would have done another one. But he was not truthful with her, and so she was blindsided.
I mean, I know that's because ultimately, I think what the issue is that he made her look stupid.
Yeah,
that
100%.
She was the ambitious one, and that's not to say, excuse me, that's not to say that he's without ambition, but it's like she was the one lowering herself for him every step of the way up until this point. Yeah. And then for him to take for granted that she'll do it again and then walk across her while doing it.
Yeah.
That is her, that is the meat of it. That's her issue. And when they were at the dinner, he did tell that story. It was spectacular. Oh, yeah. It's real. Yep. That's a real story.
That is a real story.
When she tells it, it's a joke. It was not portrayed as a joke in this show. No. And the slow push in on Edie Falco the entire time he's telling the story.
Yeah.
And it was in case you didn't watch, he tells a story about how in 92 they were doing like a victory lap and they ran into an old boyfriend of hers. And Bill was like, aren't you glad that you didn't marry that, or that you married the president instead of that guy? And she said, if I married that guy, he'd be president. And it was like,
yeah. She had so many good zingers in this episode, because then also after his deposition, she goes in the Oval Office while they're doing like, you know, they're talking about what they should do or whatever. And he asks, what do you think, Hillary? And she goes, I don't know. You're the president, I guess.
There was this pause, I guess.
I lost my goddamn mind. It was so funny.
Well, because that was another rumor, is that she was Lady Macbeth. Like, she was very much, maneuvering through him.
Look, I think here's the thing. Obviously, the president is the highest office in the land or whatever, but let's not get it twisted. She's been a senator and the Secretary of State, and she ran for president twice. I mean, she's gotten closer than most people to be as powerful as him, and some might say even more, because the Secretary of State is an extremely prestigious and high-level position.
Oh, I mean, if we're going by qualifications.
She's so much more qualified. She even has a line in this episode about how Bill like barely earned his law degree or whatever because he spent more time proposing to her than studying. And I'm just like, the like audacity of mediocre men to just be like, I'm cool and it's fine or whatever. Well, Hillary Clinton is working her absolute ass off trying to be the best in the class so nobody can keep telling her that she stole a place from a man. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Now I'm mad.
I had not been watching the modern day news recently, and I was watching it earlier. And that's another reason why I'm so angry is because it is a lot of a certain type of people being willfully stupid. And, like, they think it's fucking cute.
No, it's not cute at all. Horrible.
Fucking Kirsten Cinema. So I mean more, but yeah, it just
I'm there.
I'm furious. I'm just, like I said, I am so furious of people. It's like when a celebrity has like nude images leaks and everybody's all like prude and judgmental as if you've never been naked before. It's like, go fuck yourself.
We have first-hand accounts from our friend who used to work at a phone company who said that she would get handed phones from customers when they would walk in and it would just be full nudes on their like lock screen. And they were like, and then she'd open it and it would be like albums of pornography. And I'm just like,
I didn't know what story you were telling there. It was like,
no,
first-hand accounts of what?
No, other people. But it just is sort of like how, like, you have the nerve to like stand on this high horse when you are clearly everybody is doing the same thing as everybody else. And it's just that these
all hoping that we don't get caught lying, cheating, and stealing every step of the way.
100%.
But then someone gets caught lying, cheating, and stealing, and suddenly it's like,
how dare you?
Moving to Bill. That is one thing I do find fascinating about this show. It's I cannot identify who is the good guy, who is a good guy and who is a bad guy.
I mean, that's part of the point.
I know, but shades of gray. Like everybody.
See, that's the thing, though, is that this is the other American crime stories dealt with murder. And this as a crime is very nebulous, in my opinion. This is not really a crime. Sure, he committed perjury, but it's like,
who amongst us hasn't committed perjury?
But my point, which we've discussed before,
he committed perjury because he was backed into a stupid corner.
Exactly. This is perjury about something that has no bearing on his job as the president. It had no bearing on the Paula Jones case, and it had no bearing on Whitewater. So he committed perjury trying to save himself and his wife and his daughter emotional turmoil. And instead of just like being decent, like you said, it's like they're just like, well, I'm outraged that you would commit perjury, that you would cheat, and blah, 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 blah.
Furthermore, I remembered part of the reasons why I was getting so angry at the top of the episode with why is everybody stupid? Because again, I grew up in a conservative, household that I subscribed to for a good 20 years of my life. And it's like, I remember the talking points and I remember how they were presented because it seared in my brain that it depends on what the definition of the word it is. And that was always presented like he was being so obtuse.
Well, and
when
also,
in actuality,
and also sneaky. He was being a little sneaky.
Sneaky's on the table, but in actuality, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And if Republicans just pretend that he's not Bill Clinton and a corporation, they'll be heralding it.
Yeah.
They'll be ringing the bells as to how brilliant this corporation was for finding a loophole. And that's the shit where I get so mad is I was like, why were you, the media, conservative media, relating this story to me, an impressionable young mind, so obtuse? You were intentionally trying to keep me stupid so that I would subscribe to this narrative, and it pisses me off. I'm angry about it, like, years later.
That's the whole point of Fox News.
I understand that, and nothing can be done about it. And it's just sort of like, that watching him in that deposition was like watching Olympic ice skating.
It's a masterclass.
I remember getting into an argument with my dad and he used some metaphor and it was really dumb. And I turned it on him. I turned it back on him. And he tried to call me out for it. And I was like, it's not my fault that the parameters of your metaphor were stupid.
Yeah.
And so it's like, don't blame me because you fucked up.
So that's the thing where he basically is like, well,
you gave me a definition. I worked with the definition.
Has anybody ever read a John Grisham book? That's how all the legal thrillers end.
That's what that's the joke about lawyers. Yeah. Like, it's mind games. And I don't know, because I keep wanting to say furthermore, it doesn't matter. And I mean, it does matter. And I think there's been a lot of talk with the show. I've listened to some reviews. I've read some reviews and stuff. And there are people beside us that aren't entirely sure what to do with it.
Okay. And
I don't know that there's going to be that aha moment, at least not immediately.
Sure.
I do find this more of a fascinating slow burn or a fascinating simmer.
Yeah.
It's more so giving me stuff to thought about or to think about. It's more so giving me stuff to think about than having some grand pivotal Sorkin-esque, like,
Right.
and the moral of the story is, and
Don't slag off Aaron Sorkin. I love Aaron Sorkin.
I mean,
No,
I guess
I agree with you though, because like I didn't watch Versace, but given OJ as well. I mean, obviously there were like bad guys and good guys in that, but it's like it didn't tell you exactly how to think.
because I mean, on one hand, I'm defending Bill Clinton, and on the other hand, I'm condemning him, and it's like depending on whose perspective we're looking through, and unfortunately, I mean that's reality. It's
so
like,
okay. Here's the thing: when on one side of the table you have Bill Clinton, and the other side of the table you have Ken Starr and Brett Kavanaugh, I'm rooting for Bill Clinton because Ken Starr and Brett Kavanaugh are trash humans.
and I feel confident in that assessment.
Yeah.
especially of.
Sure. When Bill Clinton is sitting on one side of the table and Hillary is sitting on the other side of the table, I am not rooting for Bill Clinton anymore.
Well, furthermore, I would say trash humans, scumbag. Like it's kind of a different.
That's the thing. But in those different instances,
or I don't know that he's a dog.
He's a dog. He's a dirtbag. But
dirtbag, I like that better.
Ken Starr, if we're looking at this like morally only, if we're not getting into the actual legal, like, I understand perjury is a serious crime. I'm not arguing that. But if we're looking at this from a strictly moral perspective and like legal ethics, which is that you should not be going this far out of the range of your initial investigation just to try to find something to nail somebody with, then Ken Starr is a villain. And, Bill Clinton is our beleaguered hero in that scenario.
Which Hillary gets at in a brilliant scene where she's been interviewed by Matt Lauer.
Woof.
That's what I mean when I'm like, I don't know that the point of this show is going to be immediately clear to all of us.
Right.
I think it's more an exercise and oh God. Like just sort of we're far enough removed that we can look back and think.
Yeah. So I did want to just say Alan Starzinski and Jason Cook are playing Brett Kavanaugh and Matt Lauer, respectively. And I just want to say thank you for taking this potential hit to your careers. You're doing a great job.
It's not going to be a hit to their career.
You're doing a great job at playing absolutely
amazing,
repugnant humans. So congratulations.
Also, I mean, I don't know why.
Oh, it was Huma. Her assistant. She was her assistant like the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I only just noticed. Also, A+.
But to the people being stupid, this was Mr. Did you smoke weed? Yes, but I didn't inhale.
Yeah.
Before he was elected.
Sure.
We cannot pretend that this kind of logic is an affront to like, right. I don't know. I which of course is the Republicans' whole point. Yeah. And especially in hindsight, it's so brilliant contrasting Osama bin Laden against all of this bullshit.
Yeah.
And having that
serious things
and having that being represented as the silly distraction.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned this to Will.
Right, especially in hindsight. That was this episode was occurring 3 years before 9/11.
Because I mentioned to Will when we were recording, he was like, he said something about it, and I was like, yeah, don't you know that when there's a local scandal, global politics
they just stop? Yeah,
it just stops. Like
that was the other zinger that Hillary had. That was my favorite one. Vernon Jordan asked her, "When does Chelsea go back to school?" And she just goes, September. I want to go to a dinner party with Hillary Clinton. She is on my alive or dead, who would you have dinner with? She's on my list.
Again, it couldn't be explained to me my entire life. That depends on what the definition of the word is. But one scene in a Ryan Murphy show explained it to me. And again, I mean.
Tip of the hat. Yeah. No, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Because that was one of the other things on that podcast that I couldn't remember. The podcast that I listened to about this.
That one's called Slow Burn, right?
No, it's called You're Wrong About. Yeah. And so that was one of the things where they were like, here's the thing. He did technically say that, and it sounds like such a bitchy, like, trying to get around a question thing. But the answer is actually relatively sincere, because when he said there is no relationship between me and Miss Lewinsky, it's because there wasn't at that moment. And honestly, that's a serve. So
that was a closing salvo ever.
I mean,
and especially by the time they were done, and he went and shook Ken Starr's hand and told him to have a nice day. That was a really good point you made about depending on who is in the scene.
Yeah, with Bill.
Our allegiance.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I mean, like Chelsea was giving him the cold shoulder at one point too, which I mean, she hasn't had any like lines or anything,
which is fair.
She's great. There, we did also have some Monica stuff in this episode we didn't really get to. She got a new lawyer.
She got, well, most importantly, a haircut.
She got a haircut.
She got the Rachel. So we are.
She got a new lawyer because her original lawyer like realized what was happening, and they were like,
so was it that he was bad or he was just the wrong fit for this? He came in hot and he
was the problem with Ken Starr. As soon as she had a new lawyer, he was like, okay, we'll make a deal. Because Ken Starr was like, he's going on the morning shows and talking shit. That was the whole deal.
Yeah, I followed that was what happened. It wasn't clear to me motive-wise.
No, that's it. Just Ken Starr's a prissy little bitch. And he was like, he's talking shit.
I give people too much credit, apparently, sometimes.
Yeah, that was literally it. So they got new lawyers. The guy that looked like Orrin Hatch, his name, I think, is Warren Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, let's make a deal. So she detailed the whole relationship. And then she is getting immunity from prosecution.
Marsha got subpoenaed and testified, which, I mean, bless her.
Yeah.
And her grandmother, I love that. We have said this before, but my mom wants me to make it clear because she knows that I talk about my conservative heritage, that she nor the women in my family, my grandmother, my aunt, never judged nor blamed Monica in this entire endeavor. And I remember hearing them talking about it at my grandma's like dinner table and stuff. So they weren't awful women. She just wanted that on the record.
We got you, Teresa.
And she is a different person now. She's done.
Oh yeah, she's way on the right side of history now.
But no, and that's why I was specified that I grew up moderately. Like we weren't like crazy, like radical. It was well, what about the taxes? That's what I heard a lot about when I was growing up. We mostly got you, Teresa.
I have discovered relatively recently that I may in fact be a socialist. So it's like hearing that shit about taxes is like, that's how you get stuff.
There was a lot of talk in this episode about what is the definition of sex. And I was going to say, I think that's interesting and open for interpretation, because what do you consider sex? Is it P and V?
That's not all I consider sex.
Because I consider sexual contact sex.
If you're touching an erogenous zone, I will tell people that we hooked up.
I mean, I guess, yes, I do. There is typically a clarification or a specification.
Yeah.
But,
If we're just kissing, that's the thing. That if we're just kissing, we made out. If you have touched a breast or a vagina,
etc.
We were hooking up. That was sexual contact. And it's like, because a lot of people are like, it's not sex until you orgasm, but I don't buy that.
Hillary had on lock, because she was like, and I don't care that you didn't finish, you started.
Amazing. So good. Amazing. Yeah. That's, for me, sex is any kind of, they had sex. He had sex with Monica Lewinsky. They had sex. I mean, his penis was in her mouth. That's sex. I'm sorry. That's a type of sex. 7
blowjobs, 2 to completion.
It was 8 and 2 to completion. But yes.
1 awake, 2 asleep. That's the way of it.
Okay. No, I definitely, I'm still really enjoying this show. We've got 2 episodes left.
Well, we finally have gotten to the impeachment.
Yeah, we finally, that's
the word was finally spoken into existence.
So that's one of the things I'm actually excited to see, based on having listened to that podcast, is like, apparently there were people calling for the impeachment, but then like apparently almost immediately backtracking, where they were like, well, but like, we just want to like give him a slap on the wrist. And it was like, everybody was not understanding that impeachment is like for the purpose of determining whether or not you will remove them from office. It's not about a slap on the wrist. It's like a really big deal. So I am excited to see if that's going to happen.
Stand by my initial assessment of why is everybody stupid.
Yeah. Agreed.
Much like we stand by our man.
I specifically told Will in this episode I would not stand by him if he did these things to me. So, no.
You'd be driving the bus. Okay. Like, subscribe. So I'm watching at hashtag whatever. Just put some combination of that and you'll get some way to help us.
So I'm watching.com.
Clearly need all the help we can get. So, goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm sad they didn't cast Jennifer Flowers. I was kind of waiting for that.
Yeah.
I forgot it was like pre this.
Yeah, but still, that press conference was not pre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. They could.
That's where they should have brought Betty Gilpin in.
Yeah, fair enough.